Hello and welcome to Building Energy. I am your host, Chad Carrier. On today's show, we have two companies working together to provide waste heat and geothermal energy solutions to power a net zero future. So let's welcome on to Building Energy, Marc Colombina. He is the VP of Operations at Terrapin Geothermics, and Sergio Morlacchi, Business Development Manager at Exergy International. Gentlemen, welcome to Building Energy.
Thank you very much, Chad.
Thank you.
Pleasure to be here.
It's great to have you guys on the show and love seeing you out at the Global Energy Show live events. It's wonderful to see those back again. So before we get into the heart of the discussion, let's have each of you briefly introduce yourself and your background. Marc, let's start with you.
Yeah, thanks, Chad. Marc Colombina, VP of Ops for Terrapin Geothermics. I'm responsible for the execution of our waste heat to power and geothermal energy projects here in Alberta and throughout North America.
I am Sergio Morlacchi. I'm in Exergy as a business development. I'm in charge of developing the market and new territories and new product and new partnership.
Great. Well, we're going to get into how your two companies work together and the synergies between the two. But before we do that, let's start, Marc, with you and Terrapin Geothermics. Can you walk us through your origins, your company's origins, and help us understand how your company is developing emission-free energy projects from waste heat to help clients decarbonize operations and thrive in a net zero world?
Yeah, absolutely. So Terrapin was founded in 2016 as a technology development company, actually. We were looking at solutions to convert low temperature produced water, which technically is geothermal energy, into electricity here in Alberta. And as we were starting our technology development, we realized not only is there a huge market for geothermal, but there's actually a huge market for decarbonizing industries that we have both in Alberta and throughout North America. And so we moved our focus from small scale projects to larger, 5 to 10 megawatt sized electricity generation projects across industries, oil and gas, cement, timber actually is a pretty interesting industry, and with still having a focus on geothermal energy development.
Alrighty, so let's take a moment to thank our sponsors. First up, we have E3 Lithium. E3 Lithium is a lithium resource and technology company aiming to power the growing electrical revolution. Based in Alberta, E3 Lithium's combined resources, including the Clearwater project, are being developed on the backbone of the mature and sophisticated oil and gas industry that will allow the company to accelerate its development. Please visit e3lithium.ca to learn more. Next up, we have OptiSeis. OptiSeis is a leading-edge geophysical acquisition design and software company. OptiSeis provides innovative seismic survey designs utilizing the latest field technology and optimizing for advanced processing and quantitative interpretation techniques. OptiSeis's mission is to bring sustainable exploration solutions to energy development with their custom land footprint reduction, EcoSeis. EcoSeis enables operators to focus on reducing their environmental and greenhouse gas footprint while imaging all their subsurface targets and reducing costs. Visit them at optiseis.com to learn more. Next up, we have Edge Eyewear. Edge designs stylish, quality, and affordable safety eyewear that's as fit for the weekend as the workday. Edge safety glasses and sunglasses are ANSI or CSA compliant, come ready with modern technology, and are comfortable enough to offer all-day protection. And they've been delivering a better safety glass since 1998. Visit edgeeyewear.com to learn more and save 20% with code CROWN20. Next up, we have Integra. Integra helps pipeline owners and operators reduce risk and minimize cost, delivering the clearest picture of pipeline health using industry-leading ultra-high resolution inline inspection technologies, collecting multiple data sets on one tool run. Data resolution up to 4 times greater than other ILI tools. Human-based data analysis and experience providing the highest quality inspection results available. The Integra ILI system delivers for their pipeline industry partners, whose success depends on safety and reliability. See more, know more. Visit integrasolutions.com. Last but not least, we have total combustion. If you are in the oil and gas industry, you know that the regulations to deal with waste gas are always changing and becoming more stringent. Not all companies can afford to go net zero, and because all waste gas is not pipeline quality, combustion is a viable solution. That is where Total Combustion Inc. comes in, with the most reliable combustion solutions on the market. Need to buy or rent waste gas combustion equipment? Need to eliminate unscheduled downtime and lower your operation costs? Call Total Combustion at 403-309-7731 or email them at sales@tciburners.com to learn more. Now let's get back to the interview.
Okay. Can you further explain your waste heat recovery project development model?
Yeah, so the waste heat to power project development model we've focused on is really we've brought together both the engineering and construction with providing capital and development services, so that really companies who have issues with, capital deployment, so maybe they're focusing on other areas of their business, but still are looking for decarbonization solutions, we can bring that to the fore.
So, from what I understand, Terrapin underwent an extensive technology investigation into finding the right partner to collaborate with. So, can you walk us through that process and how you found Sergio and Exergy and how they fit in with Terrapin?
Yeah, actually, finding Exergy it's a pretty 21st century piece. So we were doing a technology investigation, and we really honed in on organic Rankine cycle technology, which matched the lower temperature resources that we were looking at. So that steam turbines were not efficient at that range, and so what we did is we were looking at a bunch of different ORC manufacturers, and like I said, in the 21st century kind of model, actually tweeted out to Exergy after sending a couple of emails in and got a hold of their business development team. And what we really saw with Exergy that was a huge focus for us is it didn't have North American deployments, but what they had a flexible technology and a flexible business model that really matched with us, where we try to focus on multiple industries, multiple temperature ranges. And so we thought they would be a great partner to move forward with and be able to deploy a large number of projects across a spectrum of different industries.
Well, I love that, the 21st century way of connecting companies, because now with all the technology, there's a lot of synergies there and abilities to connect internationally. So, Sergio, let's bring you into the conversation. Can you, further expand on the partnership and how that came to be? And then, of course, I want to unpack what exactly ORC is and Organic Rankine Cycles. But first, let's expand upon the partnership and how you guys came towards Terrapin.
Yes, Exergy is a clean tech solution provider. So we are a company with our own technology, which we developed in the last 10 years. We have been delivering the Organic Rankine Cycle in different countries and in different applications, and we were looking for a partner to deploy North America in different industry. So we were proposing ourselves as a solution provider, as a technology solution provider, while the market was more requesting for an overall solution provider, and that's the reason of the match with Terrapin. Exergy as a technology provider and Terrapin as a solution provider, we can fulfill the market in different industries, in different applications, with different financial players and commercial players. I think we complete each other in the market proposition.
And that's on a global perspective, correct?
That's on a global perspective. We are here in North America. We want to deploy America first, and then we are looking forward to opportunities also abroad.
Well, let's get into the dynamics of your technology, Sergio, and Exergy. Can you walk our listeners through, what ORC means, Organic Rankine Cycles, and then also your patented Radial Outflow Turbine technology?
Okay. ORC, Organic Rankine Cycle, is a technology which allows the conversion from thermal energy to electrical energy. So the product of our technology is to produce net electrical energy, and the source where we retrieve the thermal energy can be at low and medium enthalpy. So Organic Rankine Cycle can be applied very well with a good fit and good efficiency in industries and processes which has waste heat or in general heat at low and medium temperatures.
And that electricity is emission-free electricity.
And with that emission-free electricity, Marc, in doing research for this interview, waste heat itself, it seems like it's a really interesting dynamic. What your two companies are doing is taking that waste heat and utilizing it. Because if I'm not mistaken, a lot of that waste heat previously was literally wasted heat.
Yeah, absolutely. So in industrial processes, I mean, that lower to medium temperature heat that Sergio was talking about, right now, it goes up exhaust stacks. It gets sent to chillers, actually, to reduce that heat where they're reusing the different medium in the process. And so really where we were focused is, you have a resource here. Could we reduce a cooling load and provide you electricity on site? Absolutely. Or in areas where it's just going up an exhaust stack, I mean, it is literally a wasted resource that can be turned into something of value for those companies, either through environmental attributes or the electricity itself.
And how are companies and synergies between the two, such as yourself, bringing innovation to the ORC market?
So really, that's why we partnered with Exergy, is because of their innovation in the ORC market. I mean, ORCs have been around, really commercially deployed in the 1980s, but Exergy itself has, with the Radial Outflow Turbine, has really developed an ability to deploy with different resources, different temperature ranges, different pressure ranges. And maybe I'll let Sergio speak a little bit more to that.
Okay, Sergio, can you expand on Marc's point with respect to bringing innovation to the ORC market?
The success of Exergy is based on the development of our Radial Outflow Turbine, which is a specific arrangement of the Organic Rankine Cycle turbine. It is a patented solution. This allows us to have very high efficiency and very high cycle flexibility, cycle design flexibility. In overall, we can have a proposition to our customer to exploit as much as possible the thermal energy that they are available. More than this, the Radial Outflow Turbine allows to have a very significant advantage in terms of availability, with very low maintenance and very easy maintenance of the wearable parts. So basically, in one shift, we can replace the wearable part of the turbine with an overall advantage for the business case of our customers.
And let's keep expanding on the business case and the success and advantages of your two companies with respect to, really the North American marketplace, in particular, the Alberta marketplace. Marc, I'll bring you back into the interview here. Are you able to discuss some of the factors for success within the two companies' technologies in this net zero world, in particular, locational factors for project success here in Alberta and North America?
Yeah, absolutely. So the availability and the low maintenance downtime that Sergio was speaking of are huge for us with our customers. So a lot of our customers are across North America, headquartered in the hydrocarbon producing areas. And a huge piece for them is they need to be up and running to get their product to market. And so we need a solution that matches that high uptime. And, if we can shut down only when they're doing turnarounds, that's perfect. So a great piece of the Exergy system is actually the ability to just pull the mechanical housing rather than having to drain the system of all the working fluid. Now, the reason that's important as well, not only from a downtime perspective, 5 hours versus 2 to 3 days, but also in terms of the chance of release of those fluids into the atmosphere. So, we work with organic fluids that have a higher global warming potential than CO2. And so we have to be very careful to make sure that we don't have releases to the atmosphere. So the Exergy system, which allows for that working fluid to stay within the system, is huge from an environmental standpoint. And as we're pushing for a net zero future, if we can ensure that we're not having fugitive emissions, that's great for our technology and our projects.
And with respect to your clients or prospective clients that are using the technology, you're considering utilizing the process and the overall technology itself, how does this solution really play into the whole ESG aspect?
Yeah, absolutely. So the ESG aspect of this, one, environmental. So we're not removing carbon emissions from the atmosphere, but what we're doing is we're creating more valuable work with each gigajoule of natural gas that's burned, or whatever you're using within your process. If it becomes hydrogen in the future, we're getting more out of that energy by converting it to electricity. And so it's great from an environmental standpoint. As well, the conversion from fossil fuel combustion or from not getting grid electricity, which at times is made by natural gas in, less by coal now, but still coal in some areas, where we're getting more electricity from an emission-free source, the thermal energy, then that helps give carbon environmental attributes, carbon credits to our clients, which they can use to satisfy their compliance obligations, which is a major factor because a lot of our clients, they're in hard to decarbonize industries or within the fossil fuel sector itself. And so, their business is based around something that does create emissions. So any way to decarbonize and get them to net zero is a solution they're looking for.
And what are I guess the financial impacts for companies looking to take on solutions such as this from a CapEx standpoint?
Well, that's a great thing. And this is where the partnership with Exergy works really well, because what we've tried to do is really deliver an entire solution that includes the capital. So as we saw in the last few years, there was recessionary pressures on a lot of companies. And so they had to be very concerned about where they were spending their capital. And at times, these projects, which aren't core to their business, but are helpful for their business, weren't projects that they could deploy capital for. So what we've done is we've brought together the engineering, the project development, and actually the capital that wants to deliver clean energy projects. And so we can offer to our clients an ability to either get cash from gross revenue royalty or environmental attributes, which they can retire against compliance obligations with no CapEx cost to themselves.
And with respect to the renewable energy side of things and the clean energy net zero, Sergio, in terms of the solution itself, I would foresee this being, a real nice complement to, baseload power needs for existing, intermittent renewable energies. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it's correct. The application of the ORC, it's basically a baseload power generation. So whether it is waste heat recovery or whether it is renewable from geothermal, we have a baseload generation of electrical energy, which helps customer in the industrial application to be more free from the grid, or to generate continuously electrical energy, whether other renewable energy are intermittent. So building up a base load renewable energy or zero footprint energy in the electrical grid is something that a lot of institutions, a lot of investors are seeking for.
Yeah, and we always like to focus on the fact that we love wind, we love solar, the intermittent renewables, but they do need some baseload backup. It's part of a rational energy mix with energy storage. So the lowest cost but most reliable energy, both within a jurisdiction and for different clients.
Well, and I like that perspective, Marc, in terms of a rational approach, because there are many different energy sources that are required to achieve these net zero goals, which are quite aggressive. So to bring it back into the energy side of things, or the oil and gas producers per se, to pick up on your point earlier, you talked about some of the depressed prices that the energy industry has seen over the past few years. How has that led companies and producers to search for new solutions or ways of generating power, such as yourself?
Yeah, so I think one huge benefit, and going back to the baseload energy, is actually that it's guaranteed electrical pricing. So we've seen with a number of our clients the focus on consistent baseload power generation that matches their load and is at a consistent power. So in Alberta, we've seen prices of hitting the maximum pricing allowable for electrical energy in the province at peak times. And then you've seen, Texas, other jurisdictions where there's significant concerns about grid reliability. And even if the grid is up, the cost of that power to clients that, we want them to be up so that they're doing what they do best, producing their products. And so that's the depressed pricing and also reliability concerns that we've seen in the past few years have been a huge boon for the ORC marketplace.
And within the ORC marketplace, it seems like that's a really, energy security. Is that something that you guys see companies look for, Sergio?
Yes, for sure. What we see is that now investors, especially in energy intensive industry, they are looking for reducing their footprint, their carbon footprint as a value for sure, but they also want to have more robust business as electrical energy is an asset, is a real asset for them, and it's a sensitive cost for all their production. Investing in waste heat recovery can allow them to have a more robust reaction of their facility against the volatility of the market and the price of the fuels or directly the electrical energy from the grid. And it's also valid for Europe, not for all other countries abroad, that reducing the footprint of your process, installing a waste heat recovery, is recognized as a carbon-free installation and carbon reduction installation with the carbon credits recognition, which is again an asset that it's tradable and you can value in your business model.
And let's keep going with that before we round out the interview. Yeah, let's continue with ease of use. If prospective clients are looking to adopt this solution, how would they do so?
So there's a couple of ways. I mean, Terrapin, obviously, we do project development, so we're out in the market actively seeking clients. We're always also happy to take inbound calls and send them on to Exergy, where we can sit down with the client and with Exergy and figure out what the client has asked for, and also what the best solution that we can provide to the client is. And at times, we can have flexibility in terms of layout, flexibility in terms of output that really match with what the client needs and with the realities of today and where they want to go in the future.
Yeah, we may say that we start from the operational data of the customer. We check how do they run their facility, which flow they have, which temperatures they have, and according to that, we design the best application, and we quote them the solution to reduce the footprint of their facility. So they will see from our proposition which is the capex, which is the opex, and which is the performance of the technology in terms of energy consumption reduction. And here comes the common proposition from Exergy and Terrapin that goes from the technology, which is optimized to give the best plant to the customer, to the overall proposition with capex and opex analysis.
All right, well, gentlemen, it's a fantastic interview. It's been really enlightening. Is there anything you want to touch on that we may have missed before we round things out?
Yeah, one thing I think we might want to focus on, and I think Sergio and Exergy at times will not focus on this piece, which is huge within the world with the current situation, is that Exergy actually has delivered plants on time in the last few years, commissioned new facilities because of their global focus on supply chain and their diverse manufacturing locations, so they can provide solutions to clients even in, like I said, the current world situation.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. We spent the last years in exploiting our supply chain with the we have in our value and in our value proposition that we fulfill for customer, and that's what we did in the last years. It was a challenge for us. We treated the customer as partners, and we challenged the condition, the boundary condition that each opportunity had. and we managed to deliver to customer in a different environment. We delivered on time a geothermal project in Asia. We delivered waste heat recovery plant in Europe, and we fulfilled service contract abroad even when it was hard to travel. So that's how we believe that this business should be run with customer as a valuable partner, giving the solution, whether it is a new project, try to early the delivery, or keeping the availability high with the service team, whether the conditions are.
And collaborative approaches and collaborative solutions with your clients. It sounds like really there's a lot of potential here moving forward with respect to where energy needs and the energy mix is coming from. So incredibly fascinating discussion, gentlemen. Thank you so much for coming on Building Energy today.
Awesome. Thank you very much for the time, Chad.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Hey, it was an absolute pleasure, and we hope we can continue this discussion, as things progress, and maybe have you guys back on the show. Until then, thank you everyone for listening, tuning into Building Energy. As always, if you have any recommendations on content, guests, things you'd like to see, please do let us know on all of our different social media feeds. And from all of our team to you, thank you very much for listening and watching, and we'll see you on the next episode, Building Energy.